Welcome to the Building the Cooperative Classroom podcast, the official podcast of the Johnson & Johnson Cooperative Learning Institute. We've got an interview for you in a couple parts here. Aaron was unable to join us, but of course, Derrick is with us.
Hey.
There's your hey-heys. And very special guest, Gabe Edgar.
Hello.
Gabe is an instructor at the University of North Texas in the English Speakers of Other Languages program, as well as the Linguistics program, and a long-time enthusiast of cooperative learning, who Derrick and I had the pleasure of meeting back in Minneapolis, the Cooperative Learning Institute, many summers ago. Probably 5, 10, somewhere in that range.
Closer. Call it 7.5.
And Gabe was part of the Cool Guys Club that we went to go see a Minnesota Twins game with Roger Johnson.
That's correct.
So Gabe, if you could start by just telling us a little bit about your background in education and how you got involved with cooperative learning.
Sure. Well, I decided for some strange reason that I still can't explain. I think I was probably 16 or 17. I decided I wanted to be an English teacher. So I went to undergrad and got a bachelor's in English and did 1 year of high school and 1 year of elementary, and did not care for either one. But I loved teaching. I just didn't quite feel like I was being successful. I didn't feel like I was doing much for the students. I didn't really feel like I had a place. And then sort of I backed my way into a position at what was then called Richland College, is now Dallas College, teaching ESOL, which is English for Speakers of Other Languages. Some people know it as ESL, which is, English for Speakers of, or English as a second language. There's a slight difference between those two approaches. ESOL, at least at the university or collegiate level, is probably the more popular one now. But I did that for 1 semester and just absolutely fell in love with it. I was working with international students. It fulfilled my soul in a way that K through 12 didn't, even though in some ways it was sort of remarkably similar. So it may have just been me growing up a little bit. I don't know. But I immediately went and signed up at the University of North Texas to get a master's in linguistics. I did that for a couple years. And then I was at Dallas College until 2021. And then I switched to the University of North Texas, which, as Adam said, gave me a chance to also go back to teaching linguistics as well. The sort of theoretical side. So right now I'm on spring break. I don't know when this is going out, but very happy to get to spend the evening with you guys. And I'm teaching a history of English class, which is a junior level linguistics class. And it's been really fun.
It's interesting. And, coming at, education from this aspect of linguistics and, English is second language. How did cooperative learning fit into this whole piece?
It's sort of so easy to see, I think, in something like language learning, because what you really want is a lot of input output. So the interpersonal part is sort of almost necessary at the beginning. But one thing that cooperative learning gave me that maybe not all language instructors have, although they certainly have, but it certainly gave me the language to talk about how do you teach interpersonal connections. So, if you're learning a language, you want to be able to connect with other people, and you need the language to do that. But the actual skills of what does it look like and sound like to encourage other people, or to put someone else's benefit on the same level as yours, or to reserve judgment. What is it? And so it's really easy on my part, on the ESL part, to sort of build up those interpersonal social skills as part of the lesson. So I don't have to set with that. I don't necessarily have that tension. I think some instructors feel, at least early on, where they feel like they're taking away from content to spend time on explicitly teaching interpersonal communication or interpersonal skills. For me, it's all, it's just one big soup that it all counts. It all counts as content, which I think it should for everyone, but it's maybe harder for other, for a chemistry instructor or a math instructor to see that. They may feel that tension that they're losing something by spending time on that. Yeah, so for I run all my classes extraordinarily cooperatively. I try not to, I've got a sort of mental clock in my head that if I'm talking for more than about 6 minutes, I need to shut up and give them something to do. Whether that's highly formal or highly informal, it doesn't really matter. But they spend the majority of the class time interacting with each other as much as they do me.
So, Derrick and I both come from the high school background, and that's where almost all of our training has been. Mm-hmm. How do college students adapt to this, especially your linguistic students? How do they feel about learning cooperatively?
So the linguistic students are sort of the more traditional students. They almost all of them did high school in the U.S. They're pursuing an undergraduate degree. Some of them are interested in, this is a junior level class I'm teaching now. Some of them are linguistics majors, and so they're sort of already interested in the content. Some of them they just saw history of English and decided to sign up for it because they thought it would be a pretty easy class, which I guess in some ways maybe it does feel easy. I want it to feel easy, even though I'm actually, the things I'm asking them to do are quite rigorous. I have had almost no pushback on any kind of group work. And I don't know if that is a function of they have sort of seen this before in high school. I have gotten some feedback that at least two people from the fall have said that approach was, how do I say this without necessarily demeaning my colleagues, a breath of fresh air, something to that extent, that coming off of a lot of lecture heavy courses, getting to do something that is fun and engaging and active on their part, that they're not sort of taking notes and passively receiving information for 50 minutes or 80 minutes in the case of my courses, is they appreciate it. So far, for the linguistics courses, haven't had any conflict. I'm a little bit anticipatory in terms of teaching people to, explicit ways that, some of the things we talk about may lead to conflict. But, it's fairly theoretical stuff. So it's a little bit easier for them, I think, to not necessarily engage. In fact, sometimes I've had to encourage them to engage with the controversy part of it. And they're actually more hesitant to disagree with each other. But yeah, no real conflict. It's really been great. The ESL students, you get a wide range of people that have never done stuff like this. A lot of my East Asian students, Vietnamese, Chinese, Thai, Cambodian students, their English classes up to this point, when they came to the US, were almost entirely grammar focused, lecture worksheet practice. So for them, it's a big change, and I have to introduce it to them. Sometimes slowly, but most of the time it's just being more explicit about the ways that we talk to each other.
So the social skill piece kind of rings naturally. How easy is it to bring in like the positive interdependence piece? Is it like something that you set up like very, thoughtfully? Is it, something that like I've always wondered as people get older, whether that plays false?
For some classes, if I haven't structured it highly into the lesson itself, they have a tendency, some classes will have, and it just depends on the individuals, but some will have a tendency to sort of, to use a chemistry thing, go gaseous and disperse the molecules, to want to disperse into their own little spaces. And in other classes, it seems like they prefer working with each other. And so that's, of course, just individual personalities. But for both classes, I try to have something there that structures into positive interdependence, whether that's, a group product that they're working on, or some kind of limited resource. The main thing is, the easiest thing is just, especially for ESOL, there's so many worksheets and there's stuff in textbooks. There's so much good material. So if you just limit the resource on that and give one worksheet per pair, or one set of questions, or one set of sentences per pair, rather than giving them the option of doing it separately, it's very easy to sort of create that PI, that positive interdependence.
And that seems like a great place to put a pin in our discussion with Gabe Edgar. But have no fear, we'll be back with Gabe next week. Until then, let's cooperate. Thank you for listening to the Building the Cooperative Classroom podcast, the official podcast of the Johnson & Johnson Cooperative Learning Institute. Please check out the show notes for all relevant links, including a link to our Twitter account and the Cooperative Learning Institute webpage. This podcast is copyrighted under the Creative Commons license, copyright 2022. Theme music courtesy of Jimmy Ryan.